but they're working very hard. While all this stuff is going on, Donald Trump is still making the rounds. He had another disgraceful rally earlier today. And then yesterday he's talking about RFK Jr.'s, or I should say Donald Trump talking about suicide. And he's talking about mental health. He's talking about suicide. And he's talking about RFK Jr. in the same sentence. Why is this important? I'll mention why in a moment, but listen to what Donald Trump had to say about this.
I will assemble the best and brightest minds, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK, with the goal of reducing by 50% within 4 years the rates of childhood cancer, depression, and suicide.
So he's talking about suicide in RFK Jr. I want to give people a little bit of history. RFK Jr.'s ex-wife committed suicide. Tragic. After she found his diary where he chronicled in explicit detail his affairs with 37 different women. So I guess we can understand why he sees his RFK Jr. as some sort of expert with that scumbag. And yes, I'm going to call him a scumbag, RFK Jr. And you see, Donald Trump is talking about hate. And he's going after Beyonce not performing at a Harris rally. Have a listen to this.
She can't get anybody. 3 days ago, she said Beyonce was coming. So people came to see Beyonce, but Beyonce went up, "Thank you very much, everybody," and then she left. She didn't sing. And then they all left. She was speaking, nobody, and they were booing the hell out of her, by the way. And the fake news doesn't report those stories.
Because it's not true. They were not leaving. They were not booing. And doesn't that make this better? Doesn't it make this better that Beyonce didn't perform and yet all those people still showed up and they stayed and Donald Trump is a liar? And then we have Nikki Haley yesterday making the rounds, doing some interviews and doing what she always does. And I heard that she wanted to speak at MSG. And the Trump campaign pushed her aside and said no. Instead, they put racist comics and idiots up there making despicable statements about Puerto Rico, about Jews, about black people. And now all of a sudden, Nikki Haley, once again, days before the election, thinks that this hateful rhetoric is going to stop.
So when you look at these things, it has got to be a story of addition. This is not a time to have anyone criticize Puerto Rico or Latinos. This is not a time for them to get overly masculine with this bromance thing that they've got going. 53% of the electorate are women. Women will vote. They care about how they're being talked to, and they care about the issues. They need to remember that. This is a time of discipline, and this is a time of addition.
Yeah, discipline. Nikki, you imbecile with no backbone, you despicable person with no backbone, a man who went after your husband for serving, gone after your family, nicknames for you, doesn't want anything to do with you, and yet you've still endorsed him? And you think that somehow they're going to stop attacking women? Well, apparently it doesn't matter to you because you're voting for Donald Trump. Oh, yeah, and she continues, and she's trying to give Republicans, MAGA Republicans, and Donald Trump some advice as if he's going to take it. Have a listen to this.
They were right to denounce the comedian. They need to go and tell Puerto Ricans how much, they do value them. They need to tell Latinos that, but they also need to look at how they're talking about women. I mean, this bromance and this masculinity stuff, I mean, it borders on edgy to the point that it's going to make women uncomfortable. You've got affiliated PACs that are doing commercials about calling Kamala the C word, or you had speakers at Madison Square Gardens, referring to her and her pimps. That is not the way to win women. That is not the way to win people who are concerned about Trump style. This is a time to talk about the economy. This is the time to talk about immigration. This is the time to talk about national security. And this is the time to talk about Kamala Harris.
Is this woman on drugs? Has Donald Trump ever done that? This is who Donald Trump is. And she thinks that they're going to change 6 days before the election. The imbecile, by the way, who's supporting Donald Trump and voting for him. When has Donald Trump ever done any rally, had any speech where he just stuck to policy? He doesn't have policy, by the way, where he talked about the economy. No, he attacks Kamala Harris. Yeah, he'll talk about her. He calls her stupid. He insults her. Is Nikki Haley this stupid? I mean, I always considered her at times to be an educated, intelligent woman. Is she just lying? Is she this dumb? Donald Trump's been doing this for years. In fact, he's done it his entire life, and running for office never stopped him, demeaning women based on their looks. A woman can't be a 10 if she's flat-chested. He's made sexual remarks about his own daughter. 5 kids with 3 different women, a liable sexual abuser, 30 women that have come forward that have said he sexually abused them or raped them. And all of a sudden, Nikki Haley is speaking for all the female voters out there. Well, it doesn't bother her. Oh, because I like some of his policies, she says. What an imbecile. I will never, ever have a drip of respect for Nikki Haley. She has no backbone. She's no better than a Kevin McCarthy, quite frankly, or a Mike Johnson. Oh, yeah, we'll get to Mike Johnson in a moment. So a lot of Republicans today are very upset at Joe Biden. They're so upset at Joe Biden. And the reason why they're so upset is because of this statement that Joe Biden made in an interview yesterday.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Now, Joe Biden clarified, and he said he was specifically talking about a supporter and some of his supporters that spoke before Donald Trump took the stage at MSG. And I would agree with that. He clarified. By the way, it was Donald Trump the other day who called the entire country garbage. Let me be very clear with all of you and to the MAGA morons out there that are listening to this show, and I know there's plenty of them out there because I get messages from them every day. At this point, if you're still voting for Donald Trump and you believe it's a 2-tier justice system and he hasn't done anything wrong, he hasn't broken the law, he's not a sexual abuser, that he's a good man who cares about you before himself, he puts country before himself, and you have no problem with him hawking Bibles, and you have no problem with him selling shirts of when he had to turn himself in, and the gold sneakers, and you have no problem with him defying a subpoena for a year and attacking every single color in the crayon box, quite frankly, except white right-wing evangelicals. You have no problem with any of that stuff. And you think, Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, then you're garbage. So while Joe Biden clarified his statement, I'll say it myself. Most, not all, but overwhelming majority, most who are going to be voting for Donald Trump if they haven't already are garbage. You're garbage. Many of you are bigoted in nature. Many of you are racist, uneducated. Many of you, quite frankly, are brainwashed, are part of the cult, can't think for yourself. You listen to Newsmax or Jesse Waters or Fox News over and over again. You believe the stuff they spew. You're idiots. You're garbage. He has no plan for the future. Forget about even his behavior and the criminality. What is his plan for the future? Other than deporting 20 million people, taxing middle-class families, and giving huge tax breaks to the rich, the top 1%, like he did when he was in office? Really, what is his plan? Talk to you MAGA dumbbells out there. You can't even name one policy that you like. Even I could probably name a couple Trump policies that might have worked. But some of you are so stupid, garbage. And let me be frank. Donald Trump said the entire country is garbage. No, we are not. And we are going to prove that on Tuesday. Because most of this country has the wherewithal. Many people that listen to this show, that call into this show every day, that are informed, educated, and hardworking Americans that will not be voting for Donald Trump. This country is not garbage. We have a lot of problems. We have some bad people in this country. We are not garbage. Puerto Rico is not garbage. The garbage is you. The people who drink the Kool-Aid, who think Donald Trump cares about you. Donald Trump doesn't care about you. Donald Trump doesn't like you. You know, the people that he hangs out with are not people like you and me. The people that he hangs out with are the elitists that hang out at Mar-a-Lago. How is it possible that you are so stupid that you don't understand that? He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about his own family, his two sons, Uday and Kusei. His daughter wants nothing to do with him. She hasn't been seen anywhere on the campaign trail, or Jared, the idiot Kushner. Half of his administration either are not supporting him or have already endorsed Kamala Harris. 5-star generals, people that worked alongside him that know him best. And usually the people that are praising Donald Trump, the people that say how smart he is allegedly and how much he cares about us and how he's a good man, are people that don't know him. They've never had dinner with him. They've never had a personal conversation with him other than maybe a handshake or getting paper towels thrown at them. They don't know him personally. The people that know Donald Trump best, like Lev Parnas, who I had in the other day, the people that have been around him, many of them refuse to support him. They won't even be voting for him, even his former vice president. The loyalists that are around him, like the Rudy Giulianis of the world and those that went to prison for him, well, sure, those people are standing by him, the felons. Half of his administration won't be supporting him. Many in his administration have endorsed Kamala Harris. Why is that? I'm just curious. Why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they're the ones that know Donald Trump best. Usually those that are praising Donald Trump are people that have never sat down with Donald Trump, that have never had dinner with him, that never worked for him. Listen to the people that know Donald Trump best. And I'm not talking about surrogates that get paid money to curl themselves into a pretzel like some of the imbeciles that have done this show. I'm not talking about those people that get paid to say nice things about Donald Trump. I'm talking about people that have worked for him, people that are no longer getting paid to work for him. Listen to people that are close to him that know him best. Those are the kinds of people that I am talking about. What more do you need to see? This election should not be about policy. Policy is very important, and I agree with Kamala Harris on a number of different issues in policy, and I disagree with Donald Trump and so many MAGA Republicans on so many different issues. But even more important, in my personal opinion, this election is about sanity. This election is about security. And this election is about democracy. So spare me your BS. Oh, I like some of Trump's policies. I don't like that Kamala Harris. Spare me your BS. Spare me. And if you want to talk about policy, the House Speaker, the imbecile himself, Mike Johnson, was caught on video, maybe not even realizing that people were recording him. Guess what he said one of Donald Trump's top priorities will be if he wins next week? Have a listen to this.
There's a lot of talk. I mean, healthcare reform is going to be a big part of the agenda. When I say we're going to have a very aggressive first 100 days agenda, we got a lot of things still on the table. But healthcare, that's part. It's the secret. It's the secret. It's not a secret. There's some really important ideas on the table, and we have a docs caucus, the physicians who serve in the House, and they've got a menu of options about this thick. And I think this is part of it, because if you take government bureaucrats out of the healthcare equation and you have doctor-patient relationship, it's better for everybody, more efficient, more effective. That's the free market. Trump's going to be for the free market. You heard a little sample of that last night. We want to take a blowtorch to the regulatory state, okay? Yeah. I mean, these agencies have been weaponized against the people, and it's crushing the free market. It's like a boot on the neck of job creators and entrepreneurs and risk takers. And so healthcare is one of the sectors, but we need this across the board, and Trump's going to go big. I mean, he's only going to have one more term, right? Can't run for re-election. And so he's going to be thinking about legacy, and we're going to fix all these things. And,
No Obamacare?
No will come. Yeah, the ACA is so deeply ingrained. We need massive reform to make this work, and we got a lot of ideas on how to do that.
There you go. They're going to repeal the Affordable Care Act, one of Donald Trump's top priorities, according to Mike Johnson. No replacement plan, though. Concepts of a plan. What's next? Get rid of Social Security, get rid of Medicare. What's next for the Republican Party? It's a sick joke. So going back to what I said earlier, Joe Biden might have misspoke, talking about the alleged comedian and others that made some horrible racist and bigoted jokes at that MSG rally. I believe Biden when he claims that he misspoke. But I would have no problem with Joe Biden calling so many in the MAGA base despicable. I have no problem with calling so many of these people garbage. But in closing, I'll say this. We have a chance to take out the garbage on Tuesday, as Michelle Obama put it last week. We have a chance to pick up the scraps, go to the voting booth, and get rid of MAGA forever, and make sure that Donald Trump never sees the White House again. And hopefully we take out that stinky trash on Tuesday, and we never see that garbage again. And all of his MAGA supporters, so many of them garbage themselves, can go follow Donald Trump to the landfill, and they can stay there. So we never have to hear from them again either. Ladies and gentlemen, as Americans, we are taking out the garbage on Tuesday. Will you do that with me? Will you take out the garbage? Say goodbye, get the hell out of here, go to that landfill. I never want to see you in my home again. I never want to see you in my work again. That garbage is starting to smell. Take out the garbage with me on Tuesday. I ask all of you Americans to do the same.